every week we teach people about real estate and how to be an investor, whether it's an active investor or a passive investor. And then we encourage you to go out and be generous, to brag, be rich and generous. That's what this is all about. And we've been wanting for a long time to get a good friend of mine that I've worked with for many, many years. In fact, he is our head coach. He and I are the only ones that coach our Inner Circle Apprentice students on getting up and running and doing real estate. See, I tell people there's 3 ways if you want to do real estate. There's 3 ways to go. Do you want to crawl? Do you want to walk? Or do you want to run? If you want to run, those are the people who invest in our Inner Circle Apprentice program, and then they get hand-holding. We're working with them on a regular basis, personally, one-on-one, and guiding them to get started. And I am really excited to have on the show this week my good friend, Nathan Amaral. What's up, Nathan?
Hey, Larry. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. So, Nathan, I know you are, you're not only our head coach, but you're also a full-time real estate investor, and you do real estate all over the country and, virtual real estate investing. So why don't you first tell our listeners where you are calling in from, and then a little bit about yourself and how you got started.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first I'd like to say this is a great radio show because I do listen to it right from my phone as I'm, either traveling. I remember I was just traveling in France, and I was listening to an episode of Bragg Radio. So it's pretty cool to listen to it and then be on the show, which is pretty cool.
So it really is broadcast around the world. That's awesome.
Exactly. It's worldwide, right? Exactly. And that's the beauty about this business is being able to do it wherever you want. And, short background, started investing 12 years ago, non-virtually. I learned in my own backyard, which was in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And I became an active wholesaler there. And I did that consistently. Well, at first I, went to seminar after seminar, and, I read or I borrowed books from Barnes and Nobles. I literally, Larry, would go into the bookstore and just kind of, read a book and then leave. I would never buy the book. I personally didn't have any money at the time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a library?
Yeah, I mean, it was my own library program I had going on in Barnes and Nobles, really.
You could get the bestsellers, right?
Yeah, exactly. You get the bestsellers, and they were brand new. So anyway, so I would do that, and I did that for 2 years. And I'd go to seminar after seminar, reading all these books or borrowing these books, and never did anything until I got serious with a coach. That's what literally changed my business. Was I had a coach that actually helped me walk me through the steps, pushed me to make offers, and get 2 deals closed. When those 2 deals closed out of 4 that we were working on, that's when the business changed for me. It became real. It was like, wow, this is true. This is real. You can really do this. And then when I met you, about 7 years ago now, I remember it was about 7 years ago, and then I went into your office about 6 years ago, something like that, around that time frame. That this whole concept of virtual real estate was just like, wait, nobody leaves to go look at the properties. No one's leaving this office. You're not going to, go and check out the property with your own eyes. And you actually opened up my eyes to virtual real estate. And then I personally took it to a whole nother level about 4 years ago when I said, well, I'm going to do this internationally. I'm going to do it from anywhere. So right now I'm in Portugal. I'm on I guess we're on a 6-month tour, me and my family, touring Europe. We've gone through about 7 other countries already. And we're closing deals here from the beach. I don't mean to sound that all stereotypical hype, close deals from the beach from anywhere. But literally, I've been on the beach with my family and just taking phone calls and closing deals from the beach. So it's been pretty cool.
And not only that, but you've been coaching students and they've been closing deals as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I remember it was, I literally took a picture and we both did. Actually, one of my students took a selfie and I took a selfie and he was standing on a balcony overlooking some water. And it was just, we both closed the deal that week. And we were just kind of like, I was like, all right, let's take selfies together. We just kind of make it fun because the business is fun, and that's true. And yeah, and I got a lot of students that I'm working with that are closing deals all over the country. And that's an awesome thing when they can actually, get it done. And a lot of them are building virtually. A lot of the students I work with, I have a few that are doing, local in their own backyard, but a lot of them are wanting to do it virtually. Yeah.
And you know what, Nathan, since we're talking about virtual investing, it reminds me, I got a call today from a new student. He just got a book. That's all he got was a free book, okay? And which you guys can get a copy of either my HUD book or real estate day trading book. Just call Macy 877-LARRY-GO. She'll give that to you along with a bunch of other stuff, our investor kit. But I got a call from this guy today, and I happened to answer the phone. And he said, Larry, you talk about this virtual investing. He said, I don't know. I just don't see how this will work. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't see how you can buy a property long distance and how you're not getting ripped off. And I used this analogy. I said, let me ask you a question. Are you a pilot? Can you pilot a plane? He said, no. I said, well, if you get in the cockpit, do you know what all the buttons do and how to take off, how to, go left or right or up or down? He said, no, I don't know what any of that stuff is. I said, well, let me ask you a question. What about a car? Do you know where the steering wheel is? Do you know what it does? What about the gas pedal, the brake pedal, the emergency brake, the turn signals? I said, see, the problem is you just haven't been educated yet on virtual investing. That's why it's all so confusing to you, because you don't know and you haven't been trained or properly educated. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Exactly. So, Nathan, you've been helping a lot of students and you're doing a lot of your own deals. I want you to first tell us a little bit about what kind of deals that you're doing. And we got about a minute or so left, and then we're going to have to take a break.
Okay. Sure. Started out in wholesaling real estate some, years ago, and that, went into a lot of different strategies, the lease options and apartments and all that. Right now, I've been doing the owner financing model. I've been doing that with, a lot of single-family property and wholesaling, quick flip real estate, and also lease options. I've always been a fan of lease options. So that's primarily my 3 exit strategies. And then once in a while, I'll get some, like right now, I'm working on a 14-acre subdivision. And that's just random stuff that comes up that I enjoy to keep it, to keep it moving, to try new things.
That's awesome. So you're doing seller financing, which we call here on the show Filthy Riches model. And, those of you who call Macy 877-LARRY-GO, just tell her you want some info on the Filthy Riches model, because you're getting double and triple digit returns, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Guys, we're going to take a break here in just a second. Welcome back to the Van Halen Show, also known as Brag Radio. Of course, that's my favorite band. You knew that, didn't you, Nathan?
Yeah, I did. You're a rock star. You're a rock star, seriously. I never forget that time you took that whole rock star experience.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I went out to Vegas and jammed with Gene Simmons and Lita Ford and who else was it?
Sebastian Bach.
Look, Chad even knows.
18 in life.
He's heard me tell that story before. That's awesome. 18 in life. What's the name of the band he's in?
Skid Row.
That's right. See, Chad, Nathan, you don't know Chad. You haven't met him. No. But Chad is really the rock star trivia guru. I mean, he's been to so many concerts. He writes blogs and stuff about music. All kinds of music. He anything about music he knows.
Wow, that's awesome.
He's the man, the legend, and the myth.
And I invest in CDs, the musical kind.
Hey, you can get those digitally now.
No, old school.
Then you need LPs.
Exactly.
That's good. That's funny. So, Nathan, you were telling us earlier before the break about you made the leap from doing deals locally to being able to do virtual deals. Tell us kind of, and I know you said a little bit about, when you came to my office and stuff, but, it kind of helped you understand. But tell us a little bit about how you made that switch to let people know, it's not as bad as it sounds.
Yeah, well, Larry, like I said, my background was like, face-to-face, door knocking. I mean, literally, I was doing door knocking real estate, talking to the neighbors. That's what I had. Those were the tools I had at the time when I started my real estate business, and, the phone and everything. And so everything was local. Everything was, within a 1.5 hour, driving distance.
So what is door knocking? Tell our listeners what is door knocking. They may not have an idea or a clue. What do? Just go knock on random doors? Hey, you want to sell your house?
Literally, yeah, that's true. Yeah, literally, we'd go into a neighborhood. I had a few people with me on my team.
Canvassers.
And what we do is, yeah, canvassing. Exactly. That's what it was called, canvassing. And we would go into properties that were really beat up and run down. And our goal was to get a hold of the neighbor. That was really the goal. We weren't trying to get the owner. We were trying to get information from the neighbors. And so I taught my team what to do. And then they would go out and we'd canvass the streets. That's what we do.
That's awesome.
When I got to your office, I was shocked, surprised, and because I heard you doing it. Like, I knew your name in the industry, and I heard about you, and I knew what you were doing. But when I went inside your office, I'll never forget this day when I walked in and I see these big whiteboards with these addresses written on the boards. I'm thinking, like, okay, what is this? So I remember asking you, I said, Larry, like, what are all these addresses? Like, what's going on? And I just wanted to hear you say it. You said, well, these are our properties, man. This is what we're doing. And that's when I was like, wait a second, you're actually doing the real estate business? And for me, that was big because I had been in other real estate offices of big trainers and coaches, the guys on TV, and I had never seen anyone doing any real estate deals. Like, I never saw the big whiteboards and all that. So when I saw, like, your operation, how you did it, and I saw the addresses, and then you showed me, like, okay, these are the addresses, but we don't physically, like Larry Goins is not going out to those properties. And even your team members, your managers there in the office, we're not physically going out to go look at the properties. You had a system. And for me, that was like the eye opener. That was when it was like, okay, Nathan, now now it's time to do, right? That was the biggest takeaway for me, just being in your office and seeing that experience.
That is awesome. That's really cool, man. I appreciate you sharing that. And it's really not as complicated as people think it is. It's just you don't know what you don't know. And once you understand, there's ways to get people to go look at the houses. There's ways to get people to market it. There's ways to get pictures of the houses, to get the condition of the properties. There's a tremendous amount of ways to do your due diligence, but it doesn't have to be you that goes out to the house. So let's talk a little bit about building your virtual team. Who are some of the people that you need on your team to be able to do a virtual real estate business?
Yeah, so I would always recommend whenever you're doing this virtually, you're going to need someone. First of all, anyone on your team, you need to make sure you trust them. You can't just have this fly-by-night relationship with someone or someone you just met and you're only been emailing back and forth. You actually should get on the phone with people in that area, and that's in the market that you're investing in. So some of the people that you do want on your team is definitely a real estate attorney. You're going to want a real estate attorney, a title company in that market that you can actively do business with. That way you can get contracts reviewed if you need to, get your closings done efficiently and effectively. And then for people in the field, one, I would recommend a real estate agent to pull comps for you if you need, that deeper knowledge. And what I do recommend for working with real estate agents is you can get a great real estate agent at the local real estate investment group, the local investment club, to get a referral from there. I think that's probably one of the better ways to get one that works for, I call it investor-friendly realtors.
Right.
And I think that's probably, a better place to get them. And then you're going to want to get boots on the ground, some eyes on the property, someone that you can trust to go out there, take pictures, And, there's a wide variety of these, ways to do it. Some people can use like a website like We Go Look. I know you've actually mentioned that one to me, Larry. And,
right.
You could hire companies to go out and do it. But personally, I like to get local investors, maybe people that haven't closed a deal yet, but they're willing to put in the work to go, like they're willing to learn while they earn. Does that sound familiar, Larry?
Exactly. I love that phrase.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that's what it is. I work with investors who are either just starting out or they have all this information, but they haven't really clicked the deal yet. So I will get them in the field, and I will educate them a little bit along the way. But they're the one actually, getting out, taking pictures. And you know what, Larry, what the unique thing about that is? Not everyone is set out to be like the leader of a company or an entrepreneur. Some people are okay with, doing some small tasks, and that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody's going to be a real estate investor, entrepreneur. So there are people that you can find that are willing to go and, take pictures and give you the videos that you need to get that done.
That's exactly right. Some people like to be in the trenches and doing deals. I just talked to a friend of mine the other day. He does 300 deals a year. And he said, man, in the last few weeks, I've been going out and looking at houses myself and doing walkthroughs. And he said, I love this part of the business, and I've missed it for so long. And this is a guy who does 25 deals a month.
Wow.
And he missed it. And he has a team of like 28 people. But he says, I miss being out on the streets, So that's really awesome, man. That is good. Now, there's a couple of more websites you guys can go to find team members. I mean, you can find anybody you need on Craigslist, right, Nathan?
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, on Craigslist. And you can also, there's WeGoLook.com, as Nathan mentioned. There's also, BPO Photo Flow. BPOPhotoflow.com. For like $25, they'll send somebody out to any house anywhere in the country and take pictures of it inside and out. Is that crazy or what?
Yeah, well, that's normal. Honestly, for me, that's normal. Like, that is the rate I pay out is $25 for pictures and video. And that's pretty normal. And people do it. I mean, it's a job for some people who don't maybe have, or they want part-time income. It's a great opportunity there. But like you said, there's some people who want to just be in the trenches and they enjoy it and they can get a little money on the side.
And the reason they do it is they work for these large field service reps that work for the banks, asset managers, and they might only be making $15 out of those $25 per house. But the asset manager is going to send them 10 or 15 of them every single day. So they're making it up in volume, right? So we're going to take a quick break. Give me... Welcome back to Brag Radio, investing in real estate to be rich and most generous. Live from Uptown, Charlotte. I've been schooled about that. I can't call it downtown. Right?
Nope, it's downtown Lake Wiley, but Uptown Charlotte.
Downtown Lake Wiley, but Uptown Charlotte. There is a difference, apparently. So Candace is out because she has a game leg, and she had to have surgery, so she's at home, hopped up on meds. I tried non-recreational pharmaceuticals. So we've been wanting to get Nathan on for the longest time. Nathan is our head coach. He's a virtual real estate investor, a world traveler. And Nathan, tell him how old you are.
31.
31 years old. And you started investing in when you were how old?
Well, I was first seminar was 19.
You were 19 at your first seminar. How old were you when you did your first deal?
I was actually 20 when I closed my first deal. I started studying real estate at 18, went to my first seminar at 19, and then I closed my first deal when I was 20.
Man, that's huge. I love it. I love it. It is awesome. So we're talking about Nathan is a world traveler, guys. He's married. He has 2 beautiful kids, beautiful wife, and you live in some parts of the year you live in Uganda, some parts of the year you live in Portugal, some parts of the year you live in the States, and then you travel everywhere in between. Am I right?
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
That is awesome. That's awesome. I love it. So you've told us a little bit about how you find deals, how you build your team virtually. Let's talk about selling a property. How are you going to show it? How are you going to sell it and all that stuff? Because, somebody calls about a property, you can't say, all right, let me fly over there and show it to you. You can't do that. So how are you going to sell the property and show it virtually?
Sure, absolutely. Well, the first thing I do is I buy lock boxes. We can buy them right on Amazon.com. I have them shipped right over to my deal hunter, my person, my boots on the ground that's in the trenches working for me. I ship it to them, and they have the lock boxes there. And when we close on the property, they put the lock box there. And when someone is interested, we sell our properties primarily through Craigslist. Like literally Craigslist. Sometimes we'll put it on, we'll do a free listing on Zillow or some other websites, but most of the time it's just Craigslist. And put it out there, and the calls start coming in, the texts start coming in, and yeah, we just get people over there. We make sure we get a photo ID of them before they enter the property, and they get in there with the lockbox code. When they send over a photo ID, we send them the lockbox code and a tutorial video on how to open and close the lockbox code. I found that to be helpful.
Right.
And then they go through the property, and then we're on the phone with them, and we get, hey, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Is that the one? Or because we usually have quite a few properties at the same time, so if that home buyer doesn't like that one, we can get them to another one. And primarily these are for owner financing properties. So with a cash buyer, we can just get them in there, and then we just talk about it after and see if they want to pick that one up.
Right. Now, with the cash buyer, you're selling those, if you're just wholesaling the property, meaning maybe you picked it up for $30 and you're finding a quick cash buyer that's going to pay you $40 for it, and then they're going to fix it up and sell it or fix it up and rent it out. You will typically have those sold prior to closing on it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Prior to closing is the best way. I do have – there was actually one deal we had under contract, and we were telling the cash buyer, he's like, oh, what's the lockbox code? I'm like, actually, you don't even need a code. You just push the door open.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great to have a buyer's list beforehand, because that's how you sell properties quickly. You can sell them, literally instantly. When you have a good cash buyer list ready to go when you're wholesaling. Absolutely.
That's right. Now, I've got a couple more things I want to ask you, but real quick, I want to get through this whole process, like from beginning to end. So how do you close a deal when you're overseas?
Sure. Yeah. So, today, you can pretty much do everything virtually with some tools like DocuSign. You can sign electronically. One, you want to have a good relationship with either the title company or the attorney, whichever kind of state it is. You just want to have a good relationship with them so that everything can go smoothly. I'm usually not on the phone for my closing. Some attorneys would like you to be on the phone during the closing process, but usually I'm not. And if I have to at some point, depending on the attorney, I'll sign over a power of attorney for that transaction to one of my acquisition managers, my deal hunters, and I'll have them step in for me. So that's really how I do it. Like, pretty much it's all virtual, all digital signature. I don't get any paperwork in the mail. Final closing docs get sent over to my I have a company that they're a digital scanning company, so they actually receive all my mail. I know there's like a right word for this, but I can't even remember what kind of company this is. But they get all my mail, they scan the mail, and then it gets uploaded as a PDF. So all my closing documents actually get sent to me in a PDF anyway through that scanning company.
That's awesome.
And
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So, Nathan, I want you to this is awesome. And we haven't even been to a closing in years, and we do all of our deals in the Carolinas. Some are close, some are far away. We haven't been to a closing in years, and we do them the same way. So, Nathan, tell me, there's a lot of people out there listening right now. Maybe they've been changing the channel, and they hit on this station, and they're thinking, man, I'd like to do real estate. I've always had an interest, but I'm scared to death. Do you have a story maybe about a student that was scared to buy their first house, and maybe how we were able to help them, or you were able to help them overcome that fear, and then what happened? We got about 4 minutes left, three minutes left.
Oh man, I can tell you like 5 stories right now, but the one that I love the most right now, it just happened literally like a week and a half ago. Now these students literally were in a really tight bind financially. They literally just didn't have a lot of money, but they got enough money together to get into coaching with me, and they didn't even have a cash buyers list, Larry. They didn't even have a cash buyers list.
Wow.
And what I showed, we walked through the process. By our second phone call, they knew how to analyze the property. The husband went out and he found a property. I helped them put it under contract. We went over the contract together of how to fill out the contract. We went over that part. And then from there, they didn't have a cash buyer list. They submitted the offer. They got it accepted, but they didn't know what to do next. Like, we don't have a cash buyer. So I said, that's okay. I gave them a strategy to connect with another wholesaler, but not co-wholesaling. I know most people think that's like a new revolutionary thing, but it's not co-wholesaling. I actually showed them another way to get that property with partnering up with another wholesaler. And literally they closed that deal in, I think it was like 5 days later.
Wow.
And they made a nice check. It was like $7,000 total profit. And they did have to pay a few expenses out of that, but that was their first deal. They had never done a deal before.
And they overcame that fear and they took action.
Exactly. Yeah, they were really scared about not having the money for deals, even the money for like earnest money, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, are we going to make it? Are we going to lose our money?" But I showed them how to protect themselves and how to make that happen. Yeah, so that was a great story.
That is awesome.
Do I have time?
Yeah.
One more
Yeah, we
story,
got
or?
about a minute and a half left in
Okay,
this
so another
segment.
quick story
In this
was-
segment.
Okay, so another story was a student actually out of Charlotte investing in Florida. Never been to Florida, never been in that area, but she was really just wrapped up in like, how am I going to trust someone to get over there? Actually, all we implemented was video chat with boots on the ground. That's all we did. It was just like an aha moment for her, like, oh yeah, I could video chat this person and have a conversation and get to know them. And she did that a few times. And actually, this person ended up being a really reliable source to helping her, get cash buyers and get a good local attorney. And they closed deals. They're on their second deal now. That's another student I'm working with.
That's
right
awesome. How much did they make on that first deal?
The first deal was $9,000. And
Wow.
the second deal was $4,500.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Nathan, man, I really, really appreciate you being on here. When we come back, we're going to have a bragger, one of our students that is out there being rich and generous. But I really appreciate you taking the time to call in from Portugal and on the beach, closing deals.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you want to hear more about our Inner Circle Apprentice program, about working with me and Nathan, call Macy, 877-LARRY-GO. That's 877-LARRY-GO. Get your free investor's kit and ask Macy about working with Nathan and myself one-on-one. We'll be right back with a bragger.